What's going on, everybody? This is Emerald Knight Leon back with another deck analysis. Pre-releases for BT11 have finally started as of yesterday, and in a week we're going to have the new set. I'm very excited about it, especially because the deck that I'm talking about today, Bagra Army, has finally gotten a good amount of support. It's going to get even more support in the future, but for now we did get quite a bit. So starting off, jumping right into it, starting off with our Digi-Eggs, we're still running the 4 Tokomons from our last one from BT10. It's really the best card for this type of deck because of its inherited, which is during your opponent's turn, when this Digivolution card is trashed by an effect, draw 1. The majority of our effects for Bagra basically occur during our opponent's turn. For our rookies, we're running for the most part the same, but one major exception. Starting off, we have Sound Birdmon from BT10. Has when attacking, we can place one purple Digimon from our hand under one of our tamers and then draw one. And then it has on deletion save, so we can put it under our tamers. Its inherited lets us, when an effect trashes it, we gain a memory. This is an inherited that is present on pretty much every single Bagra card. Going into Choo Choo Mon. Same inherited, but it has the on-play of revealing top 4 cards of your deck. Add one Digimon card with Bagra Army and its traits, and one U Amano among them to your hand, and the rest go to the bottom of your deck in any order. On deletion save. Coming in now with the new card, we have Chikurimon for BT11. This is the Bagra Army Chikurimon. Its on-play effect lets us delete it, and then reveal top 5 cards of our deck. Add one card with Bagra Army and its traits among them to our hand, and then the rest go to the bottom in any order. And then it's on deletion save. So you're going to hard play the Chikurimon. You're going to delete it, and then you're going to be able to put it right under one of your tamers. And it's inherited. Again, when it's trashed by an effect, gain 1 memory. For our level 4s, we're actually running a little more. We are running 4 copies of Damemon. Damemon has the on-play and when Digivolving effect. If you don't have Uamano in play, you can play him for free. On deletion save. Inherited, it's the same as before. When an effect trashes this Digivolution card, gain a memory. We have Mad Leomon. Digicross, one Digimon card with Bagra Army and its traits. Opponent's turn once per turn when the number of cards in your opponent's hand is increased by an effect. By trashing any one of this Digimon's Digivolution cards, your opponent trashes cards from their hand equal to the number of cards that were increased. On deletion save. Into our new additions for this, we are running 4 copies of Mad Leomon Armed Mode. This has the opponent's turn once per turn. When an effect adds cards to your opponent's hand by trashing one of this Digimon's Digivolution cards, draw 2. On deletion save. Digicross -2, Mad Leomon, and 1 Digimon card with Bagra Army and its traits. As well as the inherited of opponent's turn when this Digivolution card is trashed by an effect, gain 1 memory. So, Mad Leomon is our new guy here. Essentially, he helps us with our draw power, while regular Mad Leomon makes our opponent have to trash cards equal to what they drew. We now have another new one, Tuwatamon. Tuwatamon, it Digivolves for 3 off of a purple Digimon, for 3 off of a black Digimon, 1 from Damemon. So it can slide evolve, essentially. It now has Decoy Bagra Army. When one of your other Digimon with Bagra Army and its traits would be deleted by an opponent's effect, you may delete this Digimon to prevent that deletion. All turns, your U Amano can't be deleted. This is a card that needs to be in Bagra Army for it to have any real consistency and stay power, especially against decks like Black War Grey, where deleting tamers is its gimmick. It also has on deletion, you may play 1 Damemon from your trash suspended without paying its memory cost. So if you Digivolve this on top of your Damemon, you'd be able to regain your Damemon back into play. Yes, it is suspended, but if your opponent's passing your turn by using an effect that could delete this, delete your cards and you use decoy, that could work too. It also has the inherited of when this Digivolution card is trashed by an opponent's effect, gain a memory. We do not run level 5s in this deck. We are running actually 8 level 6s. And they are not the original Bagra level 6s from the previous set, which were Blastmon and Tactimon. We are running 4 copies of Lilithmon and 4 copies of Bagramon. Finally, we get the main man himself. But first off, Lilithmon. Lilithmon has an on-play effect of trashing the top 4 cards of your deck, and followed up by adding up to 2 cards with Bagra Army and their traits from your trash to your hand. So if you were to accidentally trash your Bagramon or a Tawatamon, you could just grab those back to your hand, essentially. She also has an extra stipulation that you can place up to 2 Digimon cards with Bagra Army and their traits from your trash under one of your Tamers, essentially fueling your Tamers in order to restock what you just used on her. She also has a second effect. During your opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon moves from the breeding area, by trashing 1 card in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, that Digimon gains, when attacking, lose 3 memory. This is really great because it basically stops your opponent from going, making a rash attack unless they are essentially going for a mass amounts of security attacks. Moving on to our final level 6, Bagramon himself. Bagramon has an on-play, and when Digivolving, if your opponent has 1 or fewer Digimon in play, look at your opponent's hand and trash 1 card among them. If your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, place one of your opponent's Digimon under one of your opponent's other Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card. All turns, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon Digivolves or when an effect adds cards to your opponent's hand or opponent's Digivolution cards, by trashing 1 card in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, trash 1 of the top card of your opponent's security stack. So if your opponent is swarming the field, you can basically put one of their Digimon under one of their others and then proc his effect in order to trash another. And then if they're trying to Digivolve, then you can just trash another security card. For our options, we are running 8 option cards. We are running 4 copies of Buzzing Fist. Buzzing Fist here allows us to search our deck for a Bagra Army card and then trashing them. And then we can place 1 Digimon card with Bagra Army in its traits from our trash under one of our Tamers. Its security effect lets us play a Yu Amano from our trash without paying its cost, and then adds Buzzing Fist to our hand. The new option card is Astral Snatcher. Astral Snatcher's security effect is activating its main effect, which lets us place up to 3 Digimon cards with Bagra Army and their traits from our trash at the bottom of one of our Digimon's Digivolution cards, or at the bottom of one of our Tamers. Then, if we have a Digimon or Tamer with Bagra Army and its traits, like Yu Amano or Bagramon, we can place one of our opponent's Digimons under one of our opponent's other Digimons as its bottom Digivolution cards, essentially proccing Bagramon's effect again. The one downside to this card is it's a 7 cost, and that hurts. 9 times out of 10, you would want this to come out of your security stack. And it would be golden if you just had an opponent's Black War Greymon, and they swing and they hit this, and you put that Black War Grey under a Agumon. That would just be beautiful because you're not deleting the Black War Grey. You're not de-digivolving it. You're not bouncing it to their hand. You're just putting it under one of their Digimon, which would be very interesting to see happen. Moving on to our Tamers, we are running 2 copies of Yu Amano. Yu Amano is our Bagra Army Tamer. When a purple card is placed under him, once per turn, we get to draw 1. When we would play a level 4 or higher Digimon with Bagra Army and its traits, by placing up to 3 purple Digimon from under our Tamers in that Digimon's Digivolution cards, we can reduce the cost by 2 for each one. So, essentially, by putting 3 under Bagramon, we're reducing it by 6. He'd still be expensive, so honestly speaking, Bagramon, I would much rather use him to, or use Lilithmon first to facilitate more stuff into our under our tamers, and then having at least 2 Uamanos on our field in order to get 6 cards under Bagramon, just so that we can reduce it enough that it's essentially a 2 cost to play. We are also running 2 copies of Ayamako. Ayamako is our memory fixer here, but also it lets us trash Digimon and trashing cards from our hand. Essentially letting us get cards into our trash that we can then use cards like Buzzing Fist or cards like Lilithmon to just put back into our tamers and recycle them. But that is the deck. Moving on to cards that can be teched in. There is not a lot. For really, the card we took out from the previous iteration of Bagra Army was Troopmon. Essentially, when an opponent plays a Digimon or Tamer, we can trash one of our Digivolution cards, gain a memory. Then there was Blastmon and then Tactimon. For option cards, though, there is some stuff you might want to tech in, depending on how much you want to run Astral Snatcher. Back for Revenge is always great, because then you could just use it on, say, Bagramon. He dies, and then he gets played again. And then you'd be able to use other stuff like Astral Snatcher or his effect to just trash security stuff. The only downside to Back for Revenge is on-play effects don't occur, which is sad, but oh well. Demonic Disaster is always an option. Lets us play a level 3 purple Digimon from our trash as an inherited, which is always nice. If you're not able to get a Digimon under your tamer, you could just bring a Digimon back from your trash, have it die, and then put it under your tamer, I guess. Calling from Darkness serves similar purposes, especially, and unfortunately we can only run one of it now, but oh well. Pandemonium Flame is always a card I'll recommend, mainly because if your opponent has a level 6, you could just delete one of your level 6s, be done with it. Same thing really applies. Nailbone kind of works in a similar vein as Tactimon, in that it lets us play a level 3 Digimon card and a level 4 purple Digimon card. Only difference is Tactimon basically gives them blocker. Purple Memory Boost would let us search for our Bagra cards, specifically Bagramon and Lilithmon, and then Mist Memory Boost would let us basically fuel our trash for recycling. For Tamers, I would say if you're not running Ayamako, Matt Ishida works, especially if you want to regain a Buzzing Fist or an Astral Snatcher from your trash. Or if you're not able to save one of your level 6s from your trash, you can use him to grab those. And then Mimi and Kari, depending on the matchups, they can be pretty good. Mimi works very well, in my opinion, against matchups where your opponent's running a lot of option cards, because you can just stack Mimis up, use them, and then just double the amount of memory your opponent's going to have to waste using option cards. Kari is always good because of the fact that if your opponent's working in getting a lot of stuff out of your security, you'd be able to get memory off of that. But that is it for this deck analysis. Bagra Army is still not as consistent as I would like it to be, but we are going to get a bit more stuff, especially in BT12 when we're getting the new Bagramon for that. That combines him with Dark Knightmon. It's going to be real nice. He is very broken to a degree. If it weren't for some other stuff in that set that are also broken, I would say, personally, he feels the most broken otherwise. But that is it for this. Let me know what you think about this. Leave a like, comment. What would you change in Bagra Army? Are you going to run Bagra Army? What are you most excited for in this set? I will see you all in the next video. Peace.